Welcome, everybody, to this week's episode of the Chalk Talk podcast. I'm your host, joined, as always, by my resident Packers fan, my friend Michael Burke. How we doing about last week's game, big guy?
I still got withdrawal from what happened to the Packers 2 weeks ago. I felt they should have been playing last
Two
week.
weeks ago, that's what I meant. 2 weeks. Yeah, we haven't talked since then. Sorry.
Yeah, and I think there's still a sour taste in my mouth. They did better than expected this year, but when you had a chance to win that game and have a chance to get a chance to go to the Super Bowl, you got to be a little disappointed the way it finished. But it is what it is. But a bright future to look forward to for the Pack.
Yeah, last time we talked, I still had hope for my Cowboys pick, and they soiled that in about 17 game seconds. So that wasn't too good for me. But I was rooting for your boys. Unfortunately, they didn't pull it through. It looked like they had them in the first half. What are you drowning your sorrows in tonight? I got a peach flavor of the claw going tonight, but you've got something better.
I have a little Maker's Mark on the rocks.
Cheers, buddy.
What's
Here's
left of the rocks.
a good
Cheers.
a good last episode here for the season. Now I hear, correct me if I'm wrong, there were only 2 NFL games last week, and they tell me there's only one more this whole season. They say there's just one next week. Is that right?
That's what I've been told. It's a pretty big one.
I hear it's just one game. They shouldn't do that. There should be more games. But before we get started tonight, why don't we talk about last week's games a little bit, and then we got a couple games we're going to play, and then we're going to go into like Super Bowl propapalooza here and talk about all these props, because the Super Bowl is one of the most fun gambling days of the year. Whether you're doing it for enjoyment or because you got an actual lean on lines, it's super fun. So real briefly, let's hit on the last 2 conference championship games. Baltimore, Kansas City. Kansas City was a 4.5 point underdog. I think you were foolish if you didn't take them, regardless of what you thought was actually going to happen, because Pat Mahomes getting 4.5 points is absurd. Were you on that at all?
I took the Chiefs plus 4.5. I thought it was the easiest game to pick of the playoffs so far, especially with the track record of the Ravens in big games. Still got to go with the AFC champs until somebody dethrones them. So it was a pretty easy pick.
Yeah, and look, it was crazy. I didn't even know. I thought Baltimore would win the game. I just took 4.5 because there was a lot of points. And they came out, and I'm putting this one mainly on Harbaugh. They pretty much laid an egg in the run game. They had 3 early down runs, so that's first and second down. They only ran it 3 times for 17 yards. So like 3 for 17, that's a pretty good average. You can do the math. And they just abandoned it. Usually they're a pretty good team at sticking to the run. And they were only down 7 for the majority of the game, and it was tied early, and they would not run the ball. I don't know. That's what got them there. So if you were a Baltimore fan or a Baltimore backer, that had to be infuriating that they just abandoned the thing that they're the best at and moved on. So that wasn't a great loss. Game number 2, though, San Francisco, Detroit. I was on the favorite side of that. I think you were too. They had no business covering the 7.5, but they almost did anyway.
Basically a garbage time touchdown.
A garbage time touchdown put that within a cover for the underdog. That was a terrible loss for the Lions. They were in control of the first half, and they poo-pooed the bed big time after that. And I'm happy about it because I hate that team, but I'm in the minority.
It would have been a great story to see the Lions in the Super Bowl, knowing how terrible that franchise has been almost forever.
Yeah.
But you do have to, you can't really feel bad for them because they had that game in their hands and just pissed it away. Trying to take too many chances. I get it. You got to put points up against San Francisco, but you got to also take points when they come.
Yeah, but that's the thing. You got to put points up, right? So they have a chance to kick a field goal to go up 17, and they don't do it.
Correct. And it's not like they were down 10 or something like that, or they needed 2 touchdowns to get it close, and it was the end of the game. You're up by double digits. You want to maintain that 2 possession lead as often as you can. So, yeah, I know the world didn't agree with some of Dan Campbell's decisions, me included, but it would have been a great story to see Detroit in the Super Bowl for sure, but we'll never know at this point.
Yeah. So here's my thing with that. And I don't think Dan Campbell's a very good coach in the first place, but there's a lot of talk like, oh, this is what got him there. That's his shtick. He goes for it on 4th down. Badgley's like, whatever he is, 55% on field goals of 48 yards or more, which he probably loves because he gets to go for it. I don't care about any of that. Number one, I don't care if you go for it on 4th down all year. If you're in the fucking Super Bowl and you have a field goal to win the game, you're going to kick the field goal. All right. And I know it wasn't that, but it's close enough to say like, hey, this was probably a chance to take points. Number two, with 10 minutes left I think it was 10 minutes left in the game, there in the third quarter or somewhere along the way, they were still up multiple scores, right? Before that Purdy throw that hit the Lions guy in the face mask and Ayuk caught it. Right before that, they could have kicked a field goal to go up 17. That's 3 scores. Right? 17. Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong. The math is 3 scores on that, which is more than 2 scores. And you figure the Niners are only getting 4 more possessions at that point. So you're playing the math game to say, well, can we stop them once? Right? Or 1.5 times.
That's it.
And if not, we don't deserve to win the game anyway. Now, look, the Niners scored 4 touchdowns on their last 4 drives. So it turned out that it didn't matter. But you play a little differently if you're down 17 versus down 14, I think. So plus you're getting the ball in midfield. I don't know. I don't want to talk about that game anymore. We've got a Super Bowl matchup, but first let's play America's favorite game from last season called One Word or Less. Oh. So I'm going to ask you a question. You don't know the questions ahead of time and you need to give me an answer in 1 word or less. You ready?
I think if I remember correctly, last time I used several words to answer some of these questions.
You broke the rules last time.
We'll see if you can stick to it this time. We'll see if we've improved a little bit over the last year and change.
All right, let's see. Worst loss, Ravens or Lions?
Lions.
You know what? I'm going to say the Ravens. Ravens is my answer. Just because they were supposed to win. All right, so we disagree on that one. Number 2, is Travis Kelce back?
Maybe.
All right, fair answer. I'm going to say yes. My one answer is yes. And I do think he left and he's back, but we're going to talk about him as we get to the game. All right, question number 3. Will the Lions or Ravens get back to a conference championship game?
Yes.
I'll say yes too. And my answer is not yes. My answer is Ravens. Because I don't think the Lions will get there.
I think the Lions will have a better chance.
Maybe that division's only getting better though.
Well, I mean, but I think they have the younger core.
Yeah, they do. So did Oklahoma City Thunder back in the day, and we saw how that worked out.
Yeah, they got to a final.
1.
That's it.
All right. Better quarterback, Brock Purdy or Kirk Cousins?
Neither.
Yeah, you're going to love my answer. My answer is push.
Oh.
I think they're very similar players. All right. Better quarterback, Pat Mahomes or Tom Brady?
Brady.
Yeah, I'm going to say Brady too. But I think it's close, especially if Mahomes wins this one.
I would agree. He's definitely catching up.
He's already on pace with Tom. Plus, the years he loses, he gets to the conference title game. Like the Pats didn't make the playoffs for one of those years. All right, last one.
Brady, I believe, was hurt that one year that they didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah, but there was a year that he played and they didn't make it too. So they missed a couple of years. All right, last one. Super Bowl 2025 winner. 2025.
Oh.
You want to hear my answer is surprise. Stick around for a couple weeks. I already have my team, but I'm not going to tell you yet. Do you want to give a team or no?
I don't know. I haven't really thought about it because we're still in 2023, 2024, but I have an idea who I'm going to take.
That's fair. I already have a team too, but I'm not going to tell you because I'm going to tell you live on air.
All right, then I'll save mine for later too.
All right, fair enough. So hey, enough with the chit chat. We've got one game left, the big game, trademark as they call it. Kansas City, San Francisco. A lot of people aren't into this. I'm pretty into this though. I think we got 2 of the best teams. San Francisco was probably the best team most of the year. Baltimore was also one of the best teams, but hey, Kansas City is also one of the best teams, and Pat Mahomes is the best player in the league. Travis Kelce is like the second most notable player in the league. So I think we've got some good matchups. McCaffrey is the best non-quarterback. The defenses are both very good. Low-key, Kansas City has a great defense. Notably, they've only allowed 10 points in the second half throughout this whole playoffs. Isn't that absurd? 10 points. They played 3 games, and they've played Baltimore, Buffalo, and Miami. 3 of like the very good offenses that we would think of, right? Even if you go back to the last 6 games, they've only allowed 19 total second half points, which is crazy. So going on that, I got another quiz question for you. You don't know about this one, but this is a surprise. So their D coordinator, Steve Spagnuolo, right? He has 3 Super Bowls, 2 with the Chiefs, and he had 1 previously as well with Philly, I believe. There are 5 total people with 3 or 5. I'm sorry, 5 total coordinators with 3 Super Bowls. You got any guesses on those? Offensive or defensive coordinators with 3.
I feel like the Patriots have to have somebody there.
Most of them are Patriots.
Yeah. Um, I'm not very good with coordinators.
That's all right. I'm going to give them to you. And the reason I bring this up is because no coordinators have 4. Spags would be the first coordinator, offensive or defensive, to win 4 Super Bowls, which would be pretty crazy.
Impressive.
So the people with 3, it's him. It's Charlie Weiss for the Pats.
Early 2000s before his Notre Dame days. Yep.
It's Josh McDaniels for the Pats.
Okay.
Who probably should have stayed a coordinator.
Probably.
It's Romeo Crennel with the Pats.
He was going to be a guess of mine.
Yeah. And then the only one that is not a Patriots, I think, is from the 70s, because I don't know who this person is, but Richie Pettibon for the Washington teams back in like the 70s.
Okay.
Never heard of him, nope. But the other 3 are all Patriots. So Spags has something impressive to do here,
yes,
especially if he's going to hammer down that that San Francisco offense, which I think is pretty good.
And it would be a very cool storyline, but nobody will be talking about that.
Nobody will be talking about it.
It'll get one quick blurb as a cool fact, and then
you'll hear it on some of the nerd pods.
No,
and that's what you come here for. You come here for the good content, right? The little inside baseball.
Of course, we have the inside scoops.
Yeah, that's right. So we've got a good game projected by the books. The line is currently Kansas City catching 2.5. And the total is under 47.5. So let's talk about the line first. Surprisingly, before this, there have only been 6 Super Bowls with a spread of 2.5 or less.
Wow.
So this makes 7. Kansas City will have played in 3 of them, which is pretty absurd. So to list them off, the ones that we're familiar with, Seattle, Denver. Denver was laying 2. And that game was like, what, 48-10? Yeah,
40-8, like whatever it was. And that was the game at MetLife.
Yeah.
It started with the first points were a safety. So
it was a safety first
those
point.
People who got those first score safeties made out big time.
Yeah, that was huge. So Seattle, Denver -2. New England, Seattle was -1, the Malcolm Butler year.
Yep.
Which I think was today. I just saw it online. It was February 1st was the Super Bowl.
Happy anniversary.
The other 2, KC Philly last year, Philly was -2 when it closed.
Yep.
And San Francisco, Kansas City a couple of years ago, KC laid 1.5. The other ones were in 1973. Miami was a 1-point favorite over Washington. And then in 1982, San Francisco was a 1-point favorite over Cincinnati. But I was astounded that that's only happened 6 times. You get a bunch of 3s, a ton of 3s, 3.5s, 4s, whatever. But it's rare that it's 2 or less, which I think is impressive. So this one actually opened at Kansas City +3. Which I think is ludicrous. And it only stayed at Kansas City +3 for like, I'm literally 5 minutes.
Of course,
because anytime you see Mahomes catching 3, how can you take the other side of that? All right. So I'm tipping my hat a little bit where I'm going here with my pick, but it opened at 3. It got as low as 1.5, and now it's back up to 2.5. What do you think about the line?
I mean, going into this game, it seems like one team is trending in the good direction, and that's the Kansas City Chiefs, and one team has gotten progressively worse, which is the San Francisco 49ers. But the 49ers are still giving 2 points at least, which makes me seem that a lot of people will be doing the eye test and taking Kansas City. Because they say, oh, they're peaking. Their defense has been on a roll, shutting down 3 highly prolific offenses, 2 of them on the road to get back to a Super Bowl. And then you got the Niners, who had to come from behind twice against NFC North teams at home to just even be in this position to begin with. So and for them to still be getting or giving a couple points here is a little shocking, but they've been arguably the best team all year from start to finish. So I do understand it. but it's definitely fishy to me. And I already have my lean on this game and I hate it, but we'll discuss
Yeah,
that later in the show.
I think I know your lean, but we'll get to that in a second. I get the line because they're gonna say, here's my logic of how I think the bookmakers are thinking about this. Baltimore and San Francisco were probably the two best teams. I think the books view those squads as fairly even, right, in their handicapping analysis. I think that game would have been a pick 'em if it was Baltimore, San Francisco. And look, I know Baltimore kicked their ass on Christmas Eve. That doesn't matter at all when you're setting a line. They're not going to make them 17.5-point favorites, right? So I think they're equivalent. If Baltimore laid 4.5 at home to Kansas City, if you move this to a neutral field, it's 2.5-point difference. So San Francisco is going to be favored by 2 or 2.5. That's where I think
this game is in Vegas, correct?
it's in Vegas, yeah.
Okay.
So that's where I think the logic comes from is they're shaving 2 points off, 2.5 off that Baltimore line, and they're getting to that on a neutral field. Whatever, I get it. I think this game should be a pick 'em. I don't think there's any reason to lay any point. Now, look, if you're making the spread 1.5, do we really care? Now it might land on 1 and we might look like fools, but at 1.5 and even at 2, you're taking who you think is going to win the game. You're not worried about a couple points here or there. When it gets to 3, though, you're grabbing the points. Whichever side was +3, you're going to take. So that was ludicrous that it opened at 3. My pick is super easy. I have Kansas City on the money line. I have Kansas City +1.5. I have Kansas City +2.5, and I have Kansas City +3 at the open. There is not a chance in hell I'm taking Brock Purdy over Patrick Mahomes. And if Pat Mahomes loses, like, I will still go to bed at night knowing that I took Pat Mahomes as an underdog with his insane record as an underdog in the Super Bowl, where he's won 2 of them and been to 4 of them, and his only loss is to Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. I will take him, especially if he's getting points. I don't care what the line is. I don't care who's betting what. That is my side.
Yeah, I'm
Easy.
unfortunately on the opposite side of this fence, and I absolutely hate being on this fence because I hate San Francisco.
Well, you don't have to be. That's the beauty of it. If you hate it, you come to the other side.
I'm aware of that, but you got the world that's going to be on Kansas City in this game. You got the revenge factor from last year where the Niners felt they should have been in the game if Purdy doesn't get hurt in that NFC Championship game. You got the revenge game from the Super Bowl a couple years ago when Kansas City came from behind when San Francisco had that game in the bag. So you got another opportunity against the team that took it from you a couple years ago. I think it's a perfect storm where they are digressing to the point where nobody is going to consider them, where it's the perfect pick.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. And look, if we're going by rosters, I think San Francisco is the better roster. I'm torn on this because I do think it's the correct line by the books. But at the same time, I would not take San Francisco unless they were catching 7.5 points, which is, absurd. Obviously, it's not going to move to 7.5. But there is no way I would take San Francisco unless they were +7.5. That's how much I believe in Patrick Mahomes. I think this is the easiest pick of the Super Bowl in the last couple of years. I was on Kansas City last year. That hit, but barely. Who was the one before that? That wasn't that was the Rams. Jeez.
Was that your Rams pick?
So obviously I was on the Rams there. They actually didn't cover, but I squeezed them live, whatever. I was on Kansas City in the San Francisco pick. I think this is so easy to take Kansas City in this spot. So I'm not wavering. I would love to see you come to my side. Forget about the system. Forget about the public. Come to the side of Patrick Mahomes, the greatest quarterback since Tom Brady, maybe even better than him. Get off this Brock Purdy shit. He was the last pick in the draft for a reason. Mahomes is going to win the game.
Hey, he was picked. That's all that counts.
Mahomes is going to win the game, Burke.
That's why I hate where I am at, because
look at the chat. John Warner says in the chat, KC is the easiest pick in all 20 years. You'll never look back at Pat Mahomes making a huge mistake.
Perfect. I'm taking the Niners.
Oh my goodness. All right. Well, we're on different sides of that. I think we're going to be on the same side of the total, though. The game total opened at 47.5. It's down to 47 now. These Super Bowls always get bet way under. I'm never going to bet over in a Super Bowl. I think 47 or 47.5 is super sharp. I think it's the right line.
The over hit last year for sure.
Yeah, the over hit last year, but I think it's at least 7 of the last 10, maybe 8, the under has hit.
Right.
So the under hits at a crazy clip. I'm probably not going to bet it because I think
I'm,
it's right.
I'm probably going to lean the first half under. I think it's going to be a slow start as the teams feel each other out.
So I'm actually going the other way with that. And I love, so one of the props that I love, not to rain on our prop parade later, one of the props I always bet is second half higher scoring than first half. And it's usually like minus 130, minus 140. You lay a little juice for it. I'm not touching that this year because of those stats that I laid out at the start. Kansas City does not allow points in the second half. Also, Kansas City low key does not score in the second half. So if anything, I'm taking first half higher scoring than second half. But again, that's just for fun and based on my reads. I would look at a full game under if I was going to take a side. But I'm kind of staying off that total. I think it's sharp. I think it's right.
Yeah, I mean, this arguably could be the highest bet game in history. Being in Vegas,
I mean, it very well could be,
it
and
could
gambling is
definitely help.
legal now and all that fun stuff.
But
two fun ones to look at. How about a double result? So for those who don't know what a double result is, it's who's winning at halftime versus who's winning at the end of the game. If you take tie at half and Kansas City to win the game, it's 20-1, and tie at half and San Francisco to win the game, it's 18-1. So you combine those, you take both of them, you're getting 9 or 10-1 if it's tied at halftime. What do you think? That's fun.
That is fun.
Might be close. I mean, it's a 2-point game.
It could also be tied. You win. It could also be tied and you win.
Yeah, and then hey, the beauty is you take them both. It's tied at halftime. You win. You don't even have to pay attention to the second half. You win 10-1. Good for you.
Yep.
I love that play. So that's one of the props I like. Let's talk about a couple props because the Super Bowl is for props, and these are for fun. And I want to emphasize you got to have props. Like if you're going to bet the game, you got to have props that could happen at any time because you want to have fun throughout the whole game. So stuff that isn't tied to the result, stuff that isn't tied to the total, low number props, like somebody to get 2.5 rushing yards. That's fun. Somebody to catch a touchdown. That's fun. Like stuff that could just, appear and conjure out of thin air. Right. I love that. So that's what I'm going to go over today. We're going to go over a couple real ones, and then I'm going to talk about some long shot ones. So the first one that I love, I'm taking Kelce all over the board. I have him at 8 grabs or more at plus 115. I have him over 70.5 receiving yards at minus 115. And I have him to score a touchdown anytime at what was he? Minus 125 when I got him. It's a Kelce fest. I don't know how it could not be.
I mean, he's got all the storylines going for him right now. I mean, I'm sure a popular prop bet will also be how many times Taylor Swift will be shown on TV during the game.
Yeah. So you know what? And I looked for that and it's not posted yet. And I have some of these like novelty props a little later. It's not posted yet because I don't think they know if she's going to be there, but I think she's going to be there.
I think so too. And I think this is well into the double digits.
So I don't know what the line is because it hasn't been posted yet. It's going to be 2.5 and it's going to go under. They will not show her more than 2 times. I assure you, they will not. They never, ever, ever do.
It's on CBS, right?
Yeah. Because Romo's on.
Oh, they're going to show her.
I hope the line populates in real time now. I didn't see it earlier. It's going to be 2.5 and it's going to go under. And they might even set it at 3.5 and it's going to go under. But I love it as a Kelce fest. I think, again, you could sleep tight betting on him. I think that's fine. My other favorite bet, and this hit easily in their matchup last time, Deebo Samuel over 15.5 rush yards at minus 110. It hit in the last matchup. He had 3 carries for 53 yards. His first carry went for over 20 and it was in the first quarter. And I think his prop then was like 17.5 or 18.5. So that one hit easily. I know he's like struggling from a little injury, but Shanahan is an offensive genius and he knows how to use these players. And Deebo is used just as much in the backfield as he is as a receiver when that offense is clicking. 15.5 seems like, hey man, you just got to break 1.
Yep. Agreed.
And if you get 2, like you can go for 8 and you can go for 9 and you win.
Yep.
And I love that one.
I do love it too. I'm going to be riding that one on next Sunday.
That one I'm already locked in on. Yeah. Another fun one here. Fourth down. Will there be a successful 4th down conversion in the game? Kansas City is yes, minus 102. San Francisco is yes, plus 104.
I take both.
Yeah. So both is plus 310. If they both convert a 4th down, it's plus 310. I think they're at least going to try one each. So 310 would be fun.
Yes, it would.
And that could happen at any time in the game, especially if you think it's going to be tight. You might have a lot of these people going for 4th downs, right?
Also, why not? Or if they're pushing to cut down a 2 possession game.
That's fair too. They could be going for 4th and 8, 4th and 9, something like that. Sure.
course.
Yeah, so I love that one. That's worth $5 for me. Kansas City has been yes conversion in the last 5 out of their last 6. San Francisco is 2 out of the last 3. I haven't really gone beyond that. All right. So other than that, let me see. I had one related to that, and it's related to field goals. So do you know the longest field goal in Super Bowl history? Finisher makers, big guy.
52 yards.
54 yards, very close. So 54 is the record. The odds on somebody making a 55-yard field goal or more is plus 390. And the odds on somebody making a 60-yarder, hold on to your hats, 40-1. Now, look, 60 yards is a shit ton of distance, and teams are going for 4th downs, and they go for it in the middle of field now, no matter what. But, like, Butker's a really good kicker.
Yep.
I would be leaning on him for this because they try those long ones with him. This is in a dome.
Yep.
That Kansas City plays in all the time.
Yep.
Because they're in that division.
Yep.
40-1 is worth $1. I mean,
it's $40 if it hits. Cash.
Sure.
You get that. You don't drive and you got to kick a field goal going into the end of the first half. Run your guy out there. Why not? What's the worst that could happen?
John Warner makes a good point in the chat that if they show Taylor Swift, they're going to show Jason Kelce and everybody else is with them. Or with her. So that's fair. I still think it's going under whatever the number is. Maybe it's going to be higher than 2.5.
This thing is double digits. Easy.
I don't know. I'll be interested to see what this posts at. I'm going to go under on whatever it is.
Could
that be, man, they just don't do it.
Could that be the lock of the year of all things? Could that be the lock of the year? I don't know.
Well, if it is, then that's great because you haven't hit any of your lock of the years yet. So I'd be on the good side of that one. Look, man, they showed the Harbaugh parents once in that Ravens 49ers game. One time. They showed they show all these celebrities like once when there's lines posted. You know what the line? They actually have a line on how many times they'll show Roger Goodell. Do you know what that is?
2.5.
1.5.
Huh.
Now look, the over is minus 160 on that one, so you're going to pay a little juice. So they think it's going to go over, but I bet if it was 2.5, it would be absurdly juiced to the under. But all right, I'm gonna check for that one live on air and see if we get a Swift line here because I'm very interested in that one. All right, a couple other ones that I play every single year. Shortest touchdown under 1.5 yards. It's minus 152 this year. This one used to be like minus 110, and they have figured it out that a touchdown of 1 yard happens every year. It happened last year. Jalen Hurts from the 1. He got in twice, actually. More to come on that later, but it happens almost every year. Minus 152, shortest touchdown, 1.5 yards. Last play of the game is a kneel down, minus 165. I think that's pretty good value. It's usually a kneel down one way or the other. First touchdown to be a rushing touchdown, plus 135. Pacheco's been rushing in like crazy, and the Niners love McCaffrey. Why not, right?
And Debo, too.
Oh, that's true, too. And Debo could break.
Or you go with the fullback, Kyle Juszczyk. I don't know.
Maybe Kyle Juszczyk anytime is a good play. He's probably like 30-1 or something. That'd be a fun
or
shot.
Mahomes keeper. It could happen.
So Mahomes' first touchdown was 20-1 or 16-1, one of those two. So, I mean, that's fun too. Either team to score 3 times unanswered, so 3 times in a row. That one hits. This is a little stealth one because people probably don't think that hits, but it hits almost every year. It's minus 176, and I still don't think that's enough juice. It happens every year. Every team scores 3 unanswered. Does that feel like a lot to you? 3 unanswered scores?
I think the teams are too close in talent.
It's usually around the half, though. Consider that.
Right, because you get the odds where teams play the 2-minute warning, knowing they're going to get the ball in the second half.
Yes,
it's a solid pick for sure.
It's possible. I like that one. And the other scoring one I like is either team to score 3 or more touchdowns. They're both plus 175. Not either. I should say you have to take them each individually. They're both plus 175. So if you take them both, you make a little bit of change. But I don't know. Somebody could score 3 touchdowns. Sure, why not?
What's chance for a safety?
That safety. I did not look up. Safety is the first play of a game was 100-1. That I do know.
And then I guess both quarterbacks to throw at least 1 interception.
Yeah, both quarterbacks. So the INTs, they were Purdy was actually minus odds on that. Mahomes, I think, was plus 170-ish to throw an interception. Now, he threw 2 last time, Niners Chiefs Super Bowl, and Jimmy threw 2 as well. So that could certainly happen.
Yep.
Now, one that I really like, and I didn't like when I started it. So I was starting to look at this and I wanted to bet the no, but the more research I do, I think I have to bet the yes. What do you think odds are on any player to score 2 or more touchdowns? What do you think the yes odds are?
Any player to score more than two plus
2 or more.
1 plus 150.
So it's minus 150. Yes. No is plus 135. So they think somebody's going to score 2 touchdowns. Now, that seemed a little absurd to me until I did the research. This has hit 6 of the last 7 years. So we had Hurts last year. He scored twice. Kupp, Gronk, Damian Williams for the Chiefs, Gronkowski again, our old pal James White. And the only one that didn't hit was the Rams Patriots, which was 13-3, and there was not 2 touchdowns in the whole game. Isn't that crazy?
Nuts.
6 of the last 7. And the only time it didn't hit, there was only 1 touchdown in the whole game. So that might have to be a play, somebody to score twice. Now, if you're looking at who's going to score twice, all the Niners are pretty good. I mean, McCaffrey's the obvious choice because he scores all the time. Debo's a fine choice. Kittle has these games. Even Ayuk has these games.
I think in a game like this, when you have 2 weeks to prepare, you got to go with a guy that typically doesn't, that the defense isn't going to square up on. Like they're going to be zoning in on McCaffrey. So I don't think that's a great pick. A guy like Ayuk, a guy like Juszczyk, 2 guys to really lean on, at least from San Francisco side. And then for Kansas City, maybe.
I mean, Pacheco would be the bet. Pacheco
would be the pick there. Or you get lucky and one of the receivers catches the ball twice, which
probably Rashee Rice because I like him to score. The one individual prop I like though, because the guy that I do like this is for Debo. I think he gets a lot of carry in this game. Debo to get 1 rushing touchdown and 1 receiving touchdown is 30-1.
Oh,
that's fun.
It's juicy.
I like that a lot. That's worth $1 for sure. Speaking of these long shots, let's see. Do you know what the Super Bowl record for most catches is?
10.
So it's 14, apparently. Somebody can fact check me on that, but I think that's right.
Is it a Patriot?
I have no idea. Honestly, it might be James White. Who knows?
I'm thinking Julian Edelman, but
maybe Edelman. Yeah, that's true too.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I was looking at today? There was a lot of talk about Gronk because I was looking up the touchdowns and how I'm the only guy, the only Patriots fan in the world who doesn't like Gronk for some reason, because he's a dipshit in a tool bag. But he didn't play in that Falcons Super Bowl. Isn't that wild?
I don't even remember. All I know is I took the Patriots minus 3.5, and them hitting in overtime was one of the greatest feelings.
Yeah, that's the most.
That game had no business of hitting either.
That's the worst bad beat ever if you're on the Falcons side of that. I was going somewhere with this. Oh yeah, the record of catches to be broken. So somebody to get 15 is plus 775. I mean, Kelsey's not a bad bet for that, man. He got 10 last week or 11.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a wide receiver from Kansas City.
No, it would be Kelsey or
Kittle.
No, Kittle gets like 3 a game. I think Kelsey's the only shot at that.
You might be, yeah. In this,
because McCaffrey doesn't get enough catches in that offense. I think Kelsey
neither does Debo, neither does Ayuk. It's Kittle would have the best shot, but it's not going to be close because they like to spread the ball with their weapons.
Yeah, Donovan says in the chat, DraftKings says, will there be a 2-point conversion attempt? Yes is plus 115. No is minus 145. You're going to be tempted to take the yes on that for somebody to attempt it. I would actually say no. Kansas City doesn't ever do it, and San Fran might do it if pressed. I don't know. What do you think?
I'm on the same logic as you.
I mean, it's fun. If you want to take the yes, it's fun, and it could happen at any point in the game. But you can kind of look at the score and figure out, yeah, I'm going to get it or I'm not. I would probably lean no on that if I was going to bet anything.
Yeah, I'm probably staying away, but it's definitely interesting and something to look at if you're looking to.
Yeah,
spend.
Here's probably the better way to do that. I think if you want to have some fun, will there be an octopus? You know what the octopus is?
Describe it to our viewers.
I'll tell the viewers. I'm sure you know about it. The octopus is somebody scores the touchdown and they score the 2-point conversion, so they get 8 points on their own.
That's right.
That's 11-1. I like that a lot for a McCaffrey type or a Kelsey type, right?
Yep.
John Warner says in the chat he thinks the catch record is James White. Used to be 11 by Deion Branch. That's great memory recollection there.
Very good. That's our
I
that's
would
our
totally believe it's
that's
James
our
White.
that's one of our Super Bowl sources right there. If you need a Super Bowl
He's
reference,
got
he's
all the
the
stats
guy.
for us, so I know I got to be on my top game tonight because he'll know the answer. I figured it was James White because he used to catch so many passes from Brady. That was insane what he used
Yep.
to do. Touchdown parlay. You ready? Anytime touchdown. Rashee Rice, Kelsey, and Debo 13-1. All
Ooh.
three of them to score.
Oh. Wow.
Why not?
Why not? Why
That's
not?
fun. I think you get one of those on the first two touchdowns. You're having fun the rest of the night, right?
Can't win if you don't try.
That's right. You can't win if you don't play. Here's another long shot I like. Any non-quarterback to throw a touchdown 40-1. I'm not super sold on this one, but
Trying to think who's capable of throwing.
I mean, so I think you're looking at McCaffrey on a fake from like the 2 or something,
Does
like Derrick
Debo
Henry
does
style.
does Debo sling it at all on like a
Doesn't
reverse?
really. No. I mean, this might be a stupid bet. I don't know.
I don't know either. I think they're all stupid bets, but
You get like a botch field goal or something.
we're
Harrison
here to have
Butker's
fun.
throwing one.
We're here to have fun. You never know.
Yeah,
Maybe
I mean that's a fun bet. I think at 40-1, I don't know. It's worth a shot. Most first quarter rushing yards. Debo Samuel 18-1. Can you tell who I like in this game? I like a lot of Debo. 18-1 though. He could break one early.
He could.
You get 25, 30 yards on a carry. That leads the quarter probably. Pacheco's plus 135. You could always take them both.
Yeah, I agree.
And then lose when McCaffrey breaks a 40-yard run. But
also true. Hey. So he's probably minus money.
So I'm surprised actually tails in the coin toss is even odds on FanDuel and DraftKings this year. Usually it's minus 105. I always bet tails. I don't know why. But I always bet tails. Tails never fails. Real quick, some other ones before we get to some fun ones. Chris Jones and Nick Bosa to both get at least one sack. So it has to be over a half. That's 2-1.
Is Chris Jones healthy?
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's healthy. He's playing.
Okay. I know he's banged up a little bit in that AFC Championship.
He's good. McCaffrey, 2 rushing touchdowns is 5-1. A missed PAT is 4-1. Each team individually is 8-1. So if you want to take one of them, it's 8-1. Brock Purdy, 100 yards in each half is plus 120. Mahomes, 100 yards in each half is minus 115. I think that's a steal. 100 yards in each half, minus 115.
Can you parlay both of them?
No, they don't let you do that. They suck. They're no fun. You can only do the pre-made parlays. Nice name drop by the chat in John Warner though. Joseph Adai, crazy Super Bowl in terms of receptions. There's a name we haven't heard in a while.
It's a former LSU Tiger.
That's right. Let's see what else I got here. Mahomes 175 passing yards in each half is 18-1. That's something. I don't know. He could go off. I think he's going to have a lot of dink and dunk like he did last week. A lot of completions. I would probably look over completions on him if anything.
Yep.
So look, here's one I like. And Donovan in the chat was joking about Brock Purdy over 12.5 rushing yards as your lock of the year. I actually love that bet. He had like 40 or 50 last week. He's been running every week.
Yep.
I love him rushing.
What's Mahomes for reference?
Last I checked, it was 28.5. It's a little rich for me.
I would consider it.
I would consider it too. I wouldn't go under. I think if you're going to bet it, you got to go over, and that's the fun way anyway.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. So, Pat Mahomes is minus 13.5 over Brock Purdy in terms of rushing yards. So you could bet that and say Mahomes gets 14 or more rushing yards, or 14 or more rushing yards than Brock Purdy. Christian McCaffrey is minus 76.5 rushing yards over Brock Purdy. Let's take the plus 76.5, baby. Let's go. You don't lose that one until McCaffrey gets 77 yards.
That's true. He may not get there.
He might not even get there. That one is a live one until end of the third quarter at least. I love that one. I'm taking Purdy plus 76.5. I love that line. All right, let's get to some of the fun ones. Now you got to go to Bovada for these because a lot of the traditional books don't have them up or they don't put them up. National anthem runtime. So Reba McEntire is singing the national anthem, apparently. I didn't know that till today. The over-under is a minute 28.
Over.
I have no insight on this. The over's even.
Over.
But I will tell you almost every time, if you go on Twitter about 3 hours before the game, somebody hears the performance and times it, and you can literally get the answer.
Yeah, I think last year Stapleton did the national anthem last year, and I'm pretty sure that that run time was like 1:53 or somewhere close to
Yeah,
two.
so Reba McEntire must be quick because a minute 28 is pretty low. And it's minus
That's
130 to the under.
that's very low.
What color liquid will be poured on the winning coach? You got blue at 4-1, orange at plus 450, lime green, yellow plus 420, red plus 260. It's got to be red, right? They're both red. Come on.
I think I like orange here.
You like orange at plus 450. Okay.
A lot of fire. A lot of fire
right.
there.
Fair enough. Who will the Super Bowl MVP mention first in his speech? You got teammates minus 145, God or Jesus plus 135, his city 10-1, his coach 18-1, and his owner 35-1. Who's mentioning the owner first? Come on.
I think you have to respect the Lord in this situation and take the plus money.
One of my favorite quotes of all, and I forget who said it. To be a good quarterback, you either have to believe in God or believe you are God. And you're going to mention God first in that speech. I love it. Plus 135. Let's take the plus money. What else we got here? Distance of longest enforced penalty in the game. It's 15.5 yards. That's got to be over. You're going to get a PI or something.
You get a PI. That's a spot foul.
Yeah. So 15.5 overs minus 185. That's not really bettable. The Drake curse. What team apparel will Drake be wearing on Super Bowl Sunday? Chiefs minus 170, Niners plus 130.
Yeah, he's wearing the Chiefs.
Yeah, he's rocking the Chiefs for sure. No question about that one. First missed field goal of the game will be wide left, wide right, or short. Short is plus 325.
I think left.
You think left? They're both plus 115 for both ways.
Left.
All right, now we got some competitors here. So of the two companies that I name, which will be shown as a commercial first? You ready? BMW or Coors? Coors is the favorite, yeah. Booking.com or Hellman's? I'm going Booking.com because we have a dear friend who works for Booking.com, and I think Mr. Smertz is going to get him in there.
I'm going to agree.
All right. Nerds versus Oreo. They're both minus 120. It's a dead heat. It's got to be Oreo. Oreo is first. Come on.
I'm going to take the Nerds here.
Nerds. Have you seen a Nerds Super Bowl commercial?
Have you?
No.
Better late than never.
Oreo one.
Better late than never. They got something cooking.
All right. Popeyes versus Dove, the soap. They're both minus 122, so this is a dead heat. I'm thinking Popeyes here.
I'm going to take the soap.
The soap. I'm taking the chicken. I think Popeyes comes out strong.
Yeah, it's like a first quarter filler commercial. They're going to rip one good one, then you're going to drop a Dove commercial. Yep.
All right, fair enough. How many times will Roger Goodell be shown? Over 1.5 is minus 160. They'll probably show him twice. I would go over minus 160.
I think we talked about this already. I think it's at least 2.
How many times will the chains be used for a measurement? Over 1.5 is plus 310. Over 1.5 minus 460. They don't think they're going to come out twice?
Over.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Does that not get used a lot? I don't know.
Over.
All right, I'm going to check on. I'm going to see if we got a Swift odds here. And while I do that, let's talk about MVP. So you tell me who you like for the MVP, and then I'll go through some odds here.
Okay. Since I'm leaning San Francisco, as we mentioned earlier in this podcast, I think you got to go with Mr. Irrelevant Brock Purdy, as everybody thinks he stinks. He's going to be the one holding the trophy at the end as the MVP of the Super Bowl, and he's going to basically say, "I told you so." So I'm leaning Brock Purdy.
Yeah, that's fair. And I mean, the quarterback usually wins this, but they don't always. There's no Taylor Swift odds still, by the way. That won't come out until she confirms if she's going or not, I guess. So you have the favorite Pat Mahomes at plus 120. You got Brock Purdy at plus 225. So usually the quarterback odds are pretty close to the money line odds. Because, if the Chiefs win, it's probably Pat Mahomes. He didn't deserve it a couple of years ago, but he got it anyway. So this plus 225 is significant value over the money line if you think he's going to get it done. So I don't hate that. McCaffrey is plus 450. That's probably where I would lean if I like the Niners, is McCaffrey at plus 450. The other one, so you got Kelsey at 10-1. He's actually 15-1 on a couple books, which is enticing. Debo's 20-1. Pacheco's 25-1. and then you don't get really anybody else. So I think you bet this
Who's
one of two ways.
who's our top defensive guy?
Yeah, so I was just going to go there. So Nick Bosa is 65 to 1. What I like though is Chris Jones 100 to 1. Maybe this is a defensive struggle. Maybe it's 17 to 10. Maybe Chris Jones gets 3.5 sacks. He gets a forced fumble.
Or a strip sack fumble. Yeah.
Maybe he gets a scoop and score. Who knows? 100 to 1.
A big stuff on fourth down. You never
I like
know.
it. I like Chris Jones at 100 to 1. Sam Darnold is 80 to 1 for some reason. There's not a chance that that's going to happen.
I didn't even realize he was on either of these teams.
Oh, he sure is. He's the backup. He played a couple snaps this year. He took a couple knees. So I think he plays one of two ways. If you're going to take the Chiefs, Mahomes is obviously a great bet at plus 120. That's some value on the money line. I would take Kelce at 15 to 1 because I think if it's not Mahomes, it's Pacheco or it's Kelce, right? Because let's fan out what kind of stat line you'd have to have. So Cooper Kupp won it a couple of years ago, and he had a crazy stat line, and he made a huge catch. If Kelce gets 13 for 111 and 2 scores, is that enough to steal it from Mahomes if Mahomes has 270 and 3 scores and 40 rushing yards?
Probably not.
You don't think so?
No, that's a pretty big stat line for Mahomes.
Yeah, but you got to think. So this is a narrative award, right? So Kelce's a big enough name now that they might push it to him. Like if Rashee Rice has that stat line, there's no way.
No, it's Mahomes.
But it's a narrative thing, and I think they might try to give it to Travis Kelce if he has 2 touchdowns.
And 15 to 1 is great odds. Great odds.
15 to 1 is pretty good odds if you.
And if he gets in the end zone 3 times, just give it to him.
Yeah, 3 touchdowns. I think it's a lock.
Yep.
And that's why I like Debo at 20 to 1 too, man, because he could rush one in and receive one. So if he's rushing one, that's not a Purdy stat. And if he has
is he returning kicks?
No, he's not returning the kicks.
I
mean, that would be crazy too. Yeah,
let's talk about it. This hasn't happened. Let's see if there's any kickoff returns for touchdowns or punt returns for touchdowns. We got a prop for that.
Yeah, there was. I would have to look up the odds. I'll do that right now. But I think Debo at 20 to 1 isn't that bad. Just because, like I said, he could have stats in a couple categories. And if he has 40 rushing yards and 90 receiving yards and he scores 2 or 3 times, I don't think that's that bad. So you're taking Purdy though, huh? You think Purdy's the way to go?
If I'm going to lean the Niners, I'm going to lean the quarterback.
All right, that's fair enough. I'd probably lean McCaffrey at almost 5 to 1. I think that's a good play.
I don't think
I
honestly don't think he's going to have that big of a game. I think Shanahan's going to plan to get his secondary options open, knowing that Kansas City is going to be zeroing in on McCaffrey most of the game. So I don't think there's going to be for McCaffrey. That's my thought process here. So it'll be option B and option C that are going to have your best chances for San Francisco in my eyes of getting into the end zone. So Debo's good, Ayuk's good, Kittle's good. Juszczyk. I love Juszczyk. I think
you do love Juszczyk. Let me see if I can find a
fullback rushing touchdown. I think it's going to be excellent.
Juszczyk is 36 to 1 to score a touchdown. No, sorry, 10 to 1 to score a touchdown. 36 to 1 to score the last touchdown. 10 to 1.
Yeah, book 10 to 1's good.
10 to 1's not bad. All right, let me give you a couple normal props here, over-unders. You give me a one-word answer, over-under. You ready? Patty Mahomes, 262.5 passing.
Over.
Brock Purdy, 1.5 touchdowns passing.
Over.
Okay. Ayuk, 63.5 receiving.
Over.
Some of them got to go under, right?
Not all of them.
Here's an interesting one. McCaffrey, 34.5 receiving. That's a tricky one because I used to love him going over on the Panthers because he'd have these 100-yard games, but he really doesn't on the Niners.
Under.
I'd stay away from that one. John Warner asks if there's any odds for Super Bowl co-MVPs. They don't post those odds, but he says some people say it should have happened for Cooper Kupp and Aaron Donald, which isn't a bad argument. But I think in that case, if there was co-MVPs, you'd win if you bet either of them, right? I don't think you lose. I don't think they take it away.
I'm not sure. I've never been in a situation where I'm betting for co-MVPs, so I'm not. I just think that could
Yeah. I mean,
Crossing
we haven't really
issues
had
was
one.
determining
Yeah.
if you win or lose.
Yeah. Here's one that how about Noah Gray, 3 receptions or more, plus 225?
Under.
Well, you can't go on. It's an alt line. It's 2.5 minus, or I'm sorry, 1.5 minus 125 on the over.
Yeah, he's going to get 2.
You think he's going to get 2? Okay.
Yeah,
Rushing yards, McCaffrey's 90.5. That's probably right.
I think he's under.
Pacheco's 67.5. I'd probably go over there.
I would go over Pacheco, under McCaffrey.
Yeah, probably. Mahomes is 25.5. That's an overplay if you want to do anything.
Yep.
He scrambles in the playoffs. Purdy's actually 11.5 on FanDuel, so that's the better line
Over.
if you like that.
Over.
Yeah, Debo's still 15.5. That one I love. I love that Debo one so much. What else we got here? Game specials. That's what I want. Jesus, these are crazy. The shit they put up here. Debo, Rashee Rice, and Travis Kelce to combine for 5 or more touchdowns is 50-1. That's stupid.
Who is it? Debo,
Kelce? Rice, and Kelce. The 3 people that I took to each score once. But for them to get 5 touchdowns is 50-1. Just take them to score once.
Yeah, it's got to be like 10, 8, 10.
Well, I pitched it earlier. If you were paying attention, it's 13-1. Come on.
No, 13. I was close.
13-1.
Shooting darts here. Shooting darts.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them here. Chiefs total points is 23.5. I'm probably under that. Niners is 24.5. I'm probably under that. Both teams to score a touchdown in each half is plus 114. That's fun.
Yeah, could happen.
Teams to score 2 touchdowns in each half, both of them 21-1.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I don't hate it. Like if you think it's going to be an overfest, then that would be yeah. So that would be a lot of points. That'd be 56 points at a minimum. Yeah, I don't love that one. The point is, there are so many Super Bowl props, and that's the whole point of this game. You want to have, if you're going to bet it, you want to have something fun. I know I've been saying that all night, but you want to make sure that you have something you can root for. I think my best bets on the board is that shortest touchdown under 1.5. Let's take all these Kelce props. Let's take Kansas City catching the points. Let's take somebody to score 2 touchdowns. Let's take Chris Jones and Nick Bosa to each score or each record at least 1 sack. Let's take Brock Purdy plus 76.5 rushing yards over Christian McCaffrey because he might not even get to 77. Who knows?
And for those of you who may not have a notepad in front of you, we will be posting these to the Twitter accounts so you can follow along with us.
Yeah, we'll post some of our picks. Let's take Debo to score a rush and a receiving touchdown at 30-1. Why not? And I'm going to make my official MVP pick. I'm going to take Pacheco at 30-1.
Wow.
Because if it's not Mahomes, I think Kelce would have a hard time. You're right. I think it would be Pacheco. But look, if you're going to take Pacheco, you have to take the Kansas City money line as well for more.
Correct, because it's basically a double dip. That's a free win. Because there's no way Pacheco's winning MVP and the Kansas City's losing. It's just not. It ain't happening. It ain't happening.
No, absolutely not. So John says in the chat he's putting his life savings on Usher to come out to yeah. I would say there will be a prop posted. Will Ludacris make an appearance at the halftime show? And I would take yes.
Wonder if he brings Lil Jon out too. Just bring the whole crew.
Take them both. Let's put them all together. A big parlay. Why not? They post a lot of those as they get closer to, like, you know, how many songs will he play? What color will he wear? Will he wear hats? Stuff like that. It's super fun. So we're going to do a prop. We do a prop sheet at a Super Bowl party, or we will. I think that's fun. That's what the Super Bowl is about. Eat some pizza, have some drinks,
have some wings, have some buffalo chicken dips, some chips, some pretzels.
Have some chicken dip, make some prop sheets, have some fun. Enjoy
play
the game.
Some boxes.
Fun game.
If you don't want to follow the stats, just play some Super Bowl boxes, just like the rest of the world.
Play some squares. Play the 0-0 square. Do whatever you want. I don't know. Whatever
you want to do. It's all in good fun. It's cool to watch the game with a purpose if your teams are not playing in it.
Yeah, that's right. Right. So I like that. So look, have a fun game. We'll be posting these props and everything. I want to leave today with a game, and Burke does not know the game yet, but I want to play a game like Saw.
Oh, wow. Great series. Great series.
Yeah, we were watching those. Very good movies. First couple.
Wow. Very good.
Last time we played
plot,
a game.
Great plot.
We played a game, football player or Mad Men character. Okay.
We did.
This time we're going to play a game because we love the NFL and Travis Kelce, and we love Taylor Swift and her fans and everything. We're going to play a game. Are they on a Super Bowl roster? So are they on the Niners or the Chiefs? Or are they a Taylor Swift ex-boyfriend? You ready?
Let's do it.
I'm not sure if you'll know these or not, and that's why I'm very curious. All right.
We'll find out how good my pop culture references are.
Yeah, this is a pop culture quiz as much as it is a football quiz. All right, so you ready?
Let's do it.
All right. The first one, Brandon Allen. He's guessing already. He doesn't know.
I'm going to say he's on the Super Bowl roster.
He is. He's actually a San Francisco quarterback, third string. I know Brandon Allen. I think he was a second stringer at one point. I don't know. All right. So we got Brandon Allen. I'm trying to think of what order I want to do this. Matt Pryor.
Super Bowl.
He is. Wow. Was that a guess or did you know that?
I have no clue who this guy is.
He plays offensive line for San Francisco.
Beautiful. 2 for 2.
All right. Next one. Let's see. Connor Kennedy.
This sounds like a boyfriend.
That is a boyfriend. Wow. Burke, 3 for 3. Jeez, you're good. Nick Allegretti.
Super Bowl.
Jeez, Burke, you're on fire. These are crazy. He plays for Kansas City. He's a guard. Matt Healy.
Boyfriend.
Yeah, he's a boyfriend.
I knew this one. That's the only one I've actually known.
Yeah. All right, yeah. All right, I'm going to do 2 more. Nick Jones. Not Chris Jones and not Nick Jonas, but Nick Jones.
Boyfriend.
No, Kansas City cornerback. Oh. First one you missed. All right, last one then.
Almost perfect.
Last one. Calvin Harris.
That's a DJ. That is not.
Might be a different person. You don't know.
That is not a Super Bowl guy.
Well, it might be. Are you sure?
I'm going to say it's a boyfriend.
It is a boyfriend. You did good. You did a good job there, man. All right.
7. 6 for 7 is very, very good. I will.
The other one I had on my list was Taylor Lautner, but I think you know who that is.
Yeah, we got a comment. Burke is a low-key Swiftie. Yes. Confirmed.
Burke I'm a high-key Swiftie. I love Taylor Swift. I don't think we need to be low-key about our Swiftie fandom here. But good job. Megan says Burke knowing Matty Healy is shocking to me. Did you actually know who that was?
She should know better. She should know my pop culture prowess a little bit better.
Do you know who that is?
I knew who that name was. Yes.
Do you know what he does?
I don't know what he does, but I believe he was
the name. All right.
I believe he was the most recent ex.
Yeah, that sounds right. Right before Kelce. That sounds right. Hey, good for you. I'm impressed. I'm very impressed. Even though you guessed on probably most of those, you got them most right. So good job.
Didn't guess on one.
All right. Well, good job. Hey, we're excited for the Super Bowl. We're excited. I hope they show Taylor Swift 10 times. I hope they show Roger Goodell 10 times because the Super Bowl is all about having fun.
Fuck Goodell. Don't even show.
Well, yeah, that clown doesn't need any more airtime.
Yeah.
Who's doing the call? Is Romo on the call? Olsen?
It's a Romo Nance Super Bowl.
It's Romo Nance. That's what I thought. Okay. That's good. I love Tony Romo. I've had fun inviting him into our home again this year.
He's been getting a lot of slack recently for like being all over the place and not really like his heart into it. So
yeah,
it'll be interesting.
People didn't like him for a little while because he was the hot thing for a while and then he went off. But I think he's fine. I love him.
We'll see. It's I don't know. We'll see what the press does to him after this. I hope he does well because he's very, very good, but his track record recently has brought up some questions about him caring. So we'll see what happens. But I think again, it's going to be a very good game.
Yeah.
And you're going to have them talking about Pat Mahomes the entire time. I mean, over under references of Mahomes, probably 350 if there was one.
Yeah, I'm fine with them showing Taylor Swift. I'm fine with them showing whoever they want. Don't show me any of these Mahomes family people. Jackson, Brittany, get them the hell out of here. I don't care about them at all. So hey, enjoy the Super Bowl. Go to a party, have some pizza, have some food, play some prop sheets. You got any parting words of wisdom before the Super Bowl? We'll post our props at some point.
No, I hate being on the side of the Niners. I really do.
You don't
I
have
would
to be.
advise people not to, but I am not even going to listen to myself and still take the San Francisco 49ers to not only to win, but to cover the spread.
Wow. All right. Well, we're on opposite sides of the game, so it'll be fun to see who pans out there. Hey, maybe we'll be together. You're gonna come down to our party. You're gonna bail on me again. What's up?
It is TBD. I'm still trying to figure out my plans. I know.
Oh well, don't do me any favors. Jeez.
I don't want to guarantee anything. Sunday night it's tough for travel, and it's
Yeah, there's no way you're playing soccer during the Super Bowl. Come on.
I hope not.
Oh my God! If they schedule a soccer game during the Super Bowl,
they haven't in the past, so I'm hoping they stick to the status quo there because, I mean, the Super Bowl is the Super Bowl. It happens once a year.
Yeah, you can't miss the Super Bowl. All right, well, you're welcome here. We'd love to have you. If we can get together, maybe we'll do something on live. But until then, take a look at our Twitter. We'll post some pics for you. Hopefully, we can have some fun, make you guys a couple bucks here and there. But most importantly, enjoy the Super Bowl. So hey, until next time, enjoy the Super Bowl. Go Chiefs, and let's go make some money.
Let's do it.